Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
I accidentally swallowed some food coloring. The doctor says I'm fine, but I feel like I've died a little inside.
I know the feeling. 5 years ago, Apple released the original HomePod, a big, beautiful sounding speaker with HomeKit support built in. Thanks to Apple's history in music and audio devices coupled with their hardware design skills, the HomePod flopped really big. After years of lackluster sales, even discounts, which is something Apple almost never does, the company dropped it and released the HomePod Mini instead, killing off the original HomePod. Now the HomePod has returned, and this time the prodigal son has learned from its mistakes, and, well, they gave it a detachable power cord and a bigger swirly screen on the top, and that's pretty much it. So why now? Why is the HomePod back on the market? And more importantly, should you get one? Let's give it a try. If you like honest expert gear reviews from an honest gear review expert, please hit the subscribe button below and follow along as I try out the latest gear. First off, there's almost nothing different about the new HomePod from a customer standpoint. It's still expensive, although a little bit less expensive, and it's still got amazing sound, although not as good as a real stereo system. There's been a slight downgrade in the internal components, fewer speakers inside the device, and fewer of the microphones that are used to detect the placement and the sound quality. That said, I can't tell a difference between the two of them, and the audio sounds really the same. There are now temperature and humidity sensors in the HomePod, but it turns out that the HomePod Mini has them as well, and they've just been activated with recently upgraded software. When Apple released the original HomePod, the company was on the forefront of the virtual assistant world thanks to Siri and Apple's HomeKit support in the Mac and the mobile operating systems. That allowed customers to control tons of home automation devices by just their voice. By the time the HomePod arrived, I'd already wired my house from the top to bottom in HomeKit compatible gear: thermostats, lights, outlets, thermometers. If I could control it, I installed it. But even with a house full of automation, the HomePod was out of my price reach. It was prohibitively expensive, and it really missed the point of the home automation hubs. Yeah, it's great to have a big, beautiful speaker with the ability to recognize your voice commands, but the HomePod sits in a single room, and unless you're living in a studio apartment, you've got more than one room that you want to automate. Apple killed the chances for their HomePod with their own integration of Siri in the phones and iPads and watches. Does anyone really need a $350 home control device when you're wearing a watch that can do the same thing? It's much more convenient to use a standalone device than your watch or your phone, though, that is, if you're doing any home automation at all. See, for all the lead that Apple had in home automation, they've fallen into last place when it comes to automated systems and their usefulness. Siri is a less capable assistant than Google's tools, and Amazon Alexa hubs are cheap enough they're almost free. In fact, they are sometimes free. So, years before Apple and Google and Amazon got into the home automation market, there already was one. Intrepid home users could buy products from any numbers of vendors and they would work together. When Apple and Amazon and Google got into the market, though, they all decided they wanted their own walled garden. They wanted to make their own devices, they wanted to make their own accessories, or at least their own certified accessories, and those accessories couldn't work with anybody else. They all figured, hey, if we own this market, we'll dominate that market. Apple fell behind in the home automation market partially because its process of certification was more rigorous than other companies, and it was more rigorous because Apple put its typical emphasis on privacy and security. And speaking of security, no one takes online security more seriously than today's sponsor, Aura. If you're online, your data is available to just about anyone in the world. Identity theft is a huge issue. My wife's identity was stolen years ago, and she's had to spend probably 20 hours every year dealing with that. You can find not only my personal information online, but you can find your personal information online too. That's because there are people called data brokers, and they make their money selling your information, and they often get their information from data stolen online in company data breaches. I use about a half dozen different tools to keep myself safe online: password manager, VPN, credit score check, and more. When Aura reached out and offered me an account to try, I figured I wouldn't need it thanks to all the tools I already use, but I was really impressed with Aura, and now I use it for all of my data protection, and I think that you should too. That's because Aura doesn't make me use 6 or 7 different tools. All the things I need for online data protection are in one thing. So when I first launched Aura, it found my information at dozens of data brokers, and they automatically put in the request to have that data removed from those repositories. But Aura didn't stop there. They also alerted me to times that my information showed up in data breaches, and what of that ended up on the dark web. I have unique passwords for all of my sites, and you should too. But normally when I find out about a data breach, I go to my password manager and I create new passwords over there. No need to do that because Aura lets me do it right in their password manager in the app. Aura's app includes a VPN, a real-time credit and identity theft monitoring tool, internet parental controls, and it also checks to make sure that nobody is trying to change the title on my house, which I didn't even know was a thing. I even use Aura to opt me out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. If you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial when you use my link, which you can find below and in the description. You will be shocked at how much your private information Aura finds exposed over those 2 weeks of free trial. Go to aura.com/DaveTriesThis or scan the handy QR code below. Aura helps me keep my data and my family safe and secure, and it'll help you too. A few years ago, the home automation companies suddenly realized, hey, if we all keep competing to get the manufacturers to build devices for just us, nobody's going to buy any of this crap. And suddenly they decided to all work together. That's when Thread and Matter entered the home automation scene. Matter is a communication standard that all manufacturers can use for interoperability. You can think of it like the United Nations. Meanwhile, Thread is a communication standard for devices to wirelessly talk to each other. Thread devices use less energy to communicate, and thanks to their ability for each Thread device to act as a repeater, the more Thread-capable devices you have, the better. Suddenly, you don't need Bluetooth and Wi-Fi competing with each other. You can just build Thread into a device, and now you've got a way for them all to talk together. In October of 2022, though, the Matter standard officially launched, and that changed the whole home automation world, and HomePod version 2-ish. So it didn't make a lot of sense for Apple to aggressively push their home automation until the experience of setting it up was simple. Companies that were hesitant to make home automation equipment will start to produce more of it. Amazon and Google and Apple will all benefit from that. So this new HomePod comes at a time when Apple and the others are going to make a serious push for home automation integration. I suspect that was the biggest reason Apple pulled this HomePod, so that the HomePod Mini could get into more rooms while Matter and support Thread started to come along, or it would look really bad for a $99 device to have support for the future, but not a $400 device. Should you get the new HomePod? The buying decisions are exactly the same as they were 5 years ago, almost. If you want the best sound possible from your home hub, maybe to use it for your TV audio or at the center of your family space, the HomePod is great. However, it's big and it's expensive, and very few of us can afford to put one in every room. That makes the HomePod Mini still the best choice for most customers. So what about you? Are you even doing home automation? And if so, what kind of things are you doing? Are you on Apple's HomeKit? Are you on Google? Are you on Amazon? Are you doing something old school? And what kind of devices do you have automated? I'm always looking to see what kind of things people are doing so I can figure out what kind of things to bring to you. If you like these kind of videos, please hit the subscribe button below. It really helps out the channel. Up here, I have a link to my other technology reviews that I think you'll like. Over here, you can subscribe to the channel. And down here, you can get yourself some sweet, sweet merch. For Dave Tries This, I'm David Schloss. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for giving this a try.